me yet, I'm JB Howard, owner of Merit Advisors. We're independent wealth strategists for the clients that we serve on a daily basis. We spend those days helping clients build wealth, protect wealth, and really plan for predictable retirement income. Now, along the way, we concentrate on reducing expenses, and really in the form of unnecessary taxation, interest to institutions, and especially overpaying for college education. We're running into a lot of clients that are at that point where they're in their highest earning years. It's also the point where they're trying to educate their kids. So they've got their highest earning years right up against their highest expense years for raising their family. And it's making a little bit of a challenge to address a retirement income planning goals. So that's very much become a part of what we're doing, not overpaying for college. So in short, we help clients avoid unintended consequences due to the not knowing the rules of wealth building and the retirement income game. There are rules to this game, and we're making an attempt on a weekly basis to try and get those out to you guys without overwhelming. So as always, we've got a Howard Homestead update, shortest one yet. Okay, we got a lot of information to cover. So today's update is all firewood all the time. Weather's set to be cool and gorgeous this weekend, so there's going to be gallons of gasoline burnt. We're going to be running saws, running splitters, and our hope is to have many hands stacking cords of wood. We've started to put out the help signal to our network of friends and family. So we need a lot of wood. Krista likes the house balmy at about 78 to 80 degrees all winter, so we need our 10 cords. You can just imagine, she runs cold, I run hot, so spend a lot of time in shorts over the winter inside my house with lots of snow on the ground. So here we are, we're switching gears. Let's get super focused, if we could, on you and your unique plan. We're gonna fall short of actual advice since I don't know each of your situations, but we're gonna get a little closer. So with our other merit moments, we've discussed really topics that are more broad, more informational. This time, we're gonna get deeper into the weeds and help you get focused on your actual plan. So I feel like it's time to answer the big question: how much money am I going to need in retirement? You know, there's really many questions that we can focus on, but we're going to focus on 4 specifically to try and figure out how much money we need. We've got to figure out the number. Okay, so here's the 4 questions. Many articles, websites, and advisors you find out there say you're going to need to set aside enough to replace 70 to 80% of your yearly income to cover every year of retirement. I feel like that's a good start. It's a good beginning, but it's also a little confusing when you try to apply it in a practical basis. Some of us get confused. Is that gross income? Is that net income? Do you decide this based on your highest earning years, or do you decide it based on your medium earning years? Because your cost of living may be lower at that period. Will your cost of living actually be lower or higher due to external forces? What are we going to look like? And what are those factors? Things like longevity, inflation, healthcare, increasing taxation. Clearly, that's been in the headlines. Market volatility, also in the headlines. And interest rates, they going up or going down? Resting your retirement plan on a basic or an average rule of thumb doesn't really give you the best information. Instead, I'm going to go back to, again, my promise of 4 questions that you should really help. It should really help you find some tangible answers and see if you're on track with your current retirement savings plan. So here are the 4. All right, I'm gonna list all 4 of them, and then we can dive into each of them on a one-by-one basis. So firstly, where do I plan to live in retirement? I've been reading more and more about this. Okay, what types of leisure activities, number 2, will make my life full, and how much are those going to cost? 3, how long will I need this income to last? The longevity question. And then finally, number 4, what's my projected budget? And this is the absolute key. Okay, so the first question probably seems simple, but it's actually something a lot of people are just not considering as they're making up their plan for retirement. You need to have an idea of where you want to live, and if you're splitting time between 2 states, and what's that going to look like financially. There's a pretty helpful website we found recently. You can look into all this. Go to www.howmuch.net. The site shares a great map of the US and gives a breakdown of the average retirement age in each state, combined with the average amount of retirement income you need to retire in that particular state. So obviously this is all just estimates. I recommend using this tool to get an idea of the differences between the states, but here's just a couple of states that we pulled some data on. So again, for example, due to cost of living, you'd need about 100% more assets to retire in New York or California, and 50% more to live in Florida than you would need to retire here in Ohio. So no surprise there. There's a higher cost of living in those states, but it's also a good reminder of the standard of living here in Ohio. So the question is again, where do you want to live? How's the cost of living compared to other locations? Look it over, study it, consider the differences. More than ever before, that information is readily available. I encourage you not to create a retirement income plan for Ohio if you're planning to live in Florida, right? So you got to create your plan so that it includes the cost of living anywhere you hope to call home while you're retired. Maybe you go ahead and assume you might, because you have an interest, you might live in Florida. We might want to make your number, so to speak, a little bit larger, your retirement income need. Secondly, you got to decide what types of fun, what type of leisure activities you'll be participating in during your active, so to speak, retirement years. These activities bring joy and meaning to life, and they're worth budgeting for. Just make sure you study up on and understand what's involved in those activities, and add it into the plan. Figure out the detail. Golf isn't just green fees. There's a whole lot of other expenses that go along with it, or fly fishing for that matter. So simply put, if you plan to sit on the front porch in a rocker, it's going to cost less than if you intend to actually visit your family, play golf, tour Yellowstone, cruise the Caribbean, or snow ski out west. All right. So pretty big difference there in expenses, and everybody's lifestyle is different. It's okay. Either way, it's clearly your choice. So thirdly, we need to talk about how long do you need your income to last? Very specific to each individual. And obviously you'll only be able to guess on this one, but it's still pretty important to consider. You can look out over the US and find what average life expectancies are for the nation. And so by our last look, it's age 85 for males and 88 for females. You can also look at what the average life expectancy is for each state. But another factor you just have to consider is your own family history. How are your genetics, essentially? And how's your lifestyle? How are you living? How are you taking care of yourself? Do you have people in your family who've made it to age 100? Makes your likelihood of living longer a good bit higher. So consider your family history, your health history, your lifestyle, as well as national and state averages. Then once you feel confident that you have a solid estimate, you set the age you think you need to make sure you need to have money for, and then you just add 5 years to it. All right, we got to have a little bit of safety there. So regardless of a worldwide pandemic, life expectancy is just consistently increasing in our country. Now, I know this isn't the most exciting math problem you've ever done, but you need to have a goal in mind when you plan. We planning for age 85 or 95. Those are two drastically different scenarios. This allows us to find the path that makes sure we just don't run out of money. That's the real key here. So finally, the fourth question. You've sat down, you've gone through each of the previous questions and come up with an estimate. We've got to make a detailed budget for retirement. I hate giving people homework and sending them through a budget. We tend to call it a lifestyle or a cash flow sheet. But either way, if you've never created a budget, I recommend, or if you need a tool for doing it, I recommend you reach out to us in the comment section by email, schedule a free consultation. We can send our merit budget, or what we call, again, a lifestyle or cash flow worksheet. It's a little kinder and gentler when we refer to it as lifestyle. We're just trying to figure out how much we're going to spend in retirement. So essentially, we're just going to break down projected expenses. What's the mortgage going to look like? Medical insurance. We got to consider Medicare, okay? Yeah, people tend to forget this. We're still going to have medical expenses in retirement. Utilities, need-based things, okay? It's got to be, we're focusing on the need-based first. But I also feel like it's important to have some level of just absolute fun planned into the needs category. You don't want to use up all of your income on leisure activities. I'm certainly not suggesting that. But you don't want to forget to put them in your budget either, because you're going to have a lot of free time you've never had before. You've earned it. Okay, it's our greatest and most valuable resource is our time. And the goal here is to plan smartly, plan efficiently, and get to the point where finally we can control our time and be with and do the things that we want to do it. So how we want to use our time has got to be reflected in your budget. That's why I gave leisure activities its own spot, its own weight, so to speak. So obviously, your budget's just going to be a projection. Based on our experience with clients, Really nailing down what you expect to spend in retirement can get you laser focused on your savings goals. If you revisit this budget or lifestyle, this cash flow each year, you're going to be in a great place to look over your current savings and always judge, are we on track to retire with a high or a low probability of success? And that's clearly something we help our clients understand. They come in, we meet them for the first time, we've got to go through a bit of a discovery phase. How's the current plan based on what we're saving, based on the planning we have in place? It's really good. If we're 5, 10, 15 years from retirement, wouldn't you want to know if you had a 30% probability of living the retirement of your dreams or not? Okay. So if the process that we're describing is overwhelming, just reach out. That's what we do. We help people answer these questions while considering your goals and the challenges, again, that we face in retirement, like longevity, inflation, healthcare, increasing taxation, market volatility, interest rate concerns, and more. With your goals and reasonable assumptions, okay, on the challenges that I mentioned above, we can create an overall strategy that ultimately leads. Goals lead to strategy. Strategy leads to appropriate savings vehicles. These vehicles are simply tools that allow us to implement strategies that meet our goals, okay? So it's important to answer the questions that we pose today for your specific questions, your specific situation. And clearly there's more questions that have to be asked, but that's a big part of our coaching. You're just not alone. If you need some help, give me, give us, give our team a call, reach out. So as always, thanks for joining today. I hope you make it back next Thursday at 3 o'clock when my planning partner, Jason Parrish, will be discussing the current state of Social Security and really specifically how to maximize its impact on your retirement income. Thank you all so much for your time, your interest, and your trust as we cover these topics each week. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.